down my phone number in the chat. So please don't hesitate to contact me if you have questions, if you have comments. And it would be really nice also if you have questions during my lecture, please write them down in the chat. So as soon as I finish my lecture, I'll go straight to the chat and I'll read your questions and I will answer them with pleasure. So I will really appreciate that. So this way can be more fluently for everybody. Okay, so as you know, I love to sing. I remember as a child, I was 5 years old. I spent hours lying on the floor listening to the radio. And I felt a particular fascination for music. But more than fascination, it was an obsession. So I remember saying to myself, every time I found a song that I liked, I just repeated tirelessly. So every time I listened to this song, I said, okay, now I'm just going to focus on the piano. Next time I'm going to focus on the voice, next time on the percussion, and so on and so forth. So I could make the analogy that each of us is like a unique jukebox with hundreds of songs inside. And each song is composed of thousands of musical notes. And each musical note contains information. Your body is also like a jukebox. It is made up of thousands and millions of cells, and each cell contains information. Shaku, for example, is a beautiful jukebox. Purvi is another beautiful jukebox. No two jukeboxes are alike because we are all different. You are music. Every atom, chromosome, cell in your body is like a perfect musical note. Every cell in your body contains wave information. And this wave information vibrates specifically at a certain frequency. It's like you have your own signature. Music is pure mathematics. So each of you is like a mathematically perfect song. We are harmonies and disharmonies. Even when we are seriously ill, the body expresses its mathematical perfection. When I was 10 years old, I was taken to the theater for the first time. And when I entered the theater, I tell you, I said to myself, this is me. It was like a universe I felt I belonged in. So that day, I came home and told my mom, Mom, I want to be a theater actress for the rest of my life. And her response was, ay, mamacita, not a chance. If you are a theater actress, you will starve to death. So her comment was completely inappropriate. Can you imagine saying that to a little girl of 10 years old? But anyway, I just wanted to express myself through theater. I needed to express myself somehow. I needed to express all those emotions that I couldn't express at home. At home with my sisters, we were not allowed to express our positive emotions, neither the negative ones. We couldn't laugh too loud because we disturbed our father who came home tired from work. We couldn't express our anger or frustration because it was not good to get angry or frustrated. And of course, all the conflicts were forbidden. So I became an extraordinary theater actress. I have been an independent theater actress for the last 40 years. And when I say extraordinary, it is because on a stage, I expressed extraordinarily all my emotions that I couldn't express at home. We are holistic beings. We are made of at least 7 bodies. What you eat, what you drink, hear, say, is your physical body. What you feel and express is your emotional body. What you think is your mental body. What you believe about yourself and about others is your schema beliefs body. The relationship you have with nature is your spiritual body. The connection with your inner self is your intuitive body. What you experience in being and doing is your divine body. The emotional body plays a vital role in our lives. Your emotion is your compass. An emotion is an emotion. There are not negative emotions. We call them negative since a negative emotion makes us feel uncomfortable. I don't know if you have noticed, but when we are asked how we feel, most of the time, we only have 4 words to express it. Sadness, anger, fear, and happiness. Nevertheless, each of these 4 emotions is divided into an infinite number of emotions. We have not been educated to express our emotions, and we don't know how to name them. Naming exactly how we feel allows to put words to what we are and feel, and this allows to position ourselves and establish a healthy relationship with others, and therefore healthy relationships. And of course, above all, a healthy relationship with ourselves. So here I have 29 emotions, among others. Happy, sad, mad, brave, embarrassed, friendly, sorry, disappointed, frustrated, silly, hopeful, left out, excited, jealous, curious, cranky, sensitive, proud, insecure, grateful, loved, guilty, uncomfortable, shy, hurt, surprised, scared, kind, ashamed. I would like to do 2 very simple exercises with you. For this, I would like to know if Basuma, would you like to help me? And Mr. Let me see who is online. Okay, Purvi, if you can help me. Are you okay to help me, guys?
Yeah, Dad.
Okay, thank you. Basuma?
I
Yes?
am ready. I am always ready.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So I'm going to start with you, Basuma. So I'm going to tell you something. And after I have told you something, please, could you kindly please tell me, how did you feel when you heard my words? Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay. Basuma, I love your smile. Okay, could you kindly please tell us what did you feel when you heard my words? Try to be very specific.
Really, I was excited with your love, and already you are, before telling the words that you are loving me. I also love you. We all are loving you. But
Okay.
by in words you directly told me, I was emotional and I was very excited and thrilled and vibrant.
Okay, great. Great. Okay, thank you, Basuma, for your participation. Okay.
Welcome.
Okay, now I would like to ask the participants in the group, what do you think it was my intention when I said to Basuma, I love your smile? Go ahead, I listen to you. What was my intention inside?
You are asking to me or to the group? You are
I'm asking to
me.
the group. I'm asking to the group. If someone can
I
tell
will
me
keep-
what did you feel, it was
I
my
will keep silent.
intention.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, ma'am. Yeah,
It's actually
I
very
would.
difficult question for me, yeah, Luisa.
Yeah, sorry, can you
No, it
repeat
is
it?
something respect, madam. It is something respect. I would say it is something
You
respect.
want to see expression.
Okay. Okay,
You
thank
want
you.
to see expression.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it is your intention to show that what a
Yeah.
spontaneous response from the listener.
Okay, thank you. So our words and our body language express emotion and intention. So when I told Basuma, I love your smile, can you see how my voice changed? Can you observe my body language? So when I told him that, I used a specific emotion and intention, and my intention was to seduce him. Okay, so now feel the difference when I say, Basuma, I love your smile. Can you see? Completely different. And now check out this one. Yeah, Basuma, I love your smile. Can you see the sarcastic way? Okay. So now let's go further with this example. So let's suppose that even when my words were kind towards Basuma, it doesn't mean that they made him feel comfortable. Let's suppose, okay? So maybe saying in a seductive way, I love your smile, in front of too many people made him feel uncomfortable since he felt exposed by me. The important thing here is what he felt and how he will manage this uncomfortable emotion. So let's suppose that he felt bad about this. If Basuma manages his emotions and respect himself, at the end of the meeting, he would send me a message saying, Luisa, do you have 5 minutes for me? I would like to talk to you. I would say, yes, of course. And he would say, yeah, listen, Luisa, I just wanted to let you know that for your speech today, when you told me that you loved my smile, actually, I felt uncomfortable because I felt exposed in the group. So for me, it was really important to let you know this. And there, the dialogue begins. So from my side, I would say, of course, listen, I'm sorry, it was not my intention to offend you, and so on and so forth. So guys, could you kindly please mute your micro because I have, I hear some noises. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, now Purvi's turn. Purvi,
Yes, Luisa.
are you ready?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I would like to stop here.
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah,
very
Purvi,
happy to
okay.
speak with you. Yeah.
Okay,
Alberta.
Purvi. Just let me know how did you feel when you heard my words? Like, are you ready?
It's yeah. Tell me.
How did you feel?
I feel like you are in front of my ear only because it's a vibration. Your
Okay.
smile. It's not difference of smile. It's our vibration, how we are talking.
Okay,
Our
but
speech.
yeah, but try to be more specific. What did you feel? If you could choose a word.
Yeah, how you are your speak and how your attention with other people, how you are speaking, how you are giving answer, and how you are singing,
Okay.
voice,
Okay, Purvi. Okay.
all is connection our mind. You are
Okay.
there, UK, I'm here, but our connection is there. Something connection is over there.
Okay, I understand. Thank you, Purvi. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you.
So please notice how emotions produce a physical reaction in our bodies. When we feel fear, we feel our body inhibit. When we feel in love, we feel our body expand. When we feel anger, we feel like fire inside of our body. And we feel like hitting, attacking, screaming. When we feel sad, we feel cold and need warmth. Every emotion we feel causes hormones to be produced in our body. And this hormone production changes the biochemical reaction in our body. So an emotion is an emotion. The nature of an emotion is to flow. Inside the word emotion, we have the word motion. That means movement. So from a very young age, I felt a particular passion for the world of emotions, for the complex world of our brain, for human behavior, for pain, suffering, and illness. I was always invaded by a thirst to learn, to find the logic in everything. Now, if we didn't learn from our parents, schools, teachers, society, how to express our emotions, we will struggle. We will have communication problems with others. If we can't manage our emotions, we will get sick. This was my case. From a holistic perspective, by not expressing our emotions, they block in our body. And our body expresses this blockage through illness. This was my case, okay? I would like to highlight that when very young children suffer from serious illnesses, the dynamics are much more complex than when adults get sick. We know that a child does not have the capacity to manage her emotions, especially young children from 2 years, 3 to 12 years old. When we observe young children suffering from illnesses, it is much more complex because in the child's emotional universe, the parents are the main actors. So the manifestation of illnesses in very young children is completely another subject to be explored in depth. So in my case, I had a benign tumor in my pituitary gland. This tumor was causing me to produce too much growth hormone. The doctors wanted to operate on me and I refused. I went through the periodontal disease, my teeth. I immediately say to myself, I want to know why my body is expressing this. That's when I discovered urine therapy. The intake of my urine took me even further. I used to ask myself, if the illness is in me, maybe it is because I created somehow. But how? Why? When? Where? If my body is a living laboratory with a perfect mathematical divine intelligence, where is the answer? When I used to ask my mother complex questions when I was a child, she always told me, "Ay, mamacita, don't dig too much, because if you dig too much, you will find something." So I always did what she told me. It is the opposite. Come on, don't stop me, dear. Let me spread my wings and fly. To find your own answers, you have to dig. You have to explore your deepest layers. It's not funny. It hurts sometimes, but it's worth. So my quest to know the origin of my physical ailments led me to be accompanied by a psychotherapist. I kept consuming my fresh urine. This psychotherapy led me to understand the root of my illnesses. I found the answers to my questions. Please note that I don't know everything. I'm still in the process, and I love to be in the process of discovering myself. In the meantime, my mother died of breast cancer. And I tell you, it took me almost 10 years to understand the language of diseases. Yes. Yes. Even if you are seriously ill, you have to know that is the manifestation of perfect mathematics in your body. This fascination for the perfection of the human body led me to complete my studies as a PCA therapist. PCA means person-centered accompaniment. And at the same time to become a bioresonance practitioner. So I work with a laptop-sized scanner called BioSpect. The BioSpect is a quantum scanner created in Russia. Through this scanner, we can see at an informational level where the person is vibrating. We can see graphically, so to speak, how their personal song sounds at a very deep level. If I go to the liver, for example, I go down layer by layer until I get to the DNA. I can reinform people by sending them specific frequencies that allow them at their own rhythm to rebalance themselves. These specific frequencies are divided in 25 families, like homeopathy, Bach flowers, the chakras, emotions, gemology, spagyrics, etc. BioSpect is an energetic rebalancing device, since an organ is both a receiver and a transmitter of frequencies. It emits information according to its state. The more its condition deteriorates towards pathology, the more it deviates from its optimal frequencies. So that when the BioSpect reinforms the body through optimal frequencies transmitted to the organ, it is able to reharmonize itself. The transmitted frequencies are painless and non-invasive. So I do this work in person and at a distance also. The biospec doesn't give medical diagnosis. The use of the biospec is not a therapy to cure diseases. I accompany people so that they can find coherence in what they feel, think, say, and do. This allows the person to focus on him, herself, and therefore to be in alignment. In other words, his song sounds the way he wants it to. A new alignment reconnects people to their inner self, and therefore they can flow. So again, from a holistic perspective, the human body is energy, information, vibration, and frequency. What makes the difference between people from each other is the information in which they vibrate. We could say that information is made up of what the person thinks, believes, feels, hears, does. What he eats, what she drinks, what she says, what he doesn't say, what he expresses, what he is silent about. All this information is present in our cells. So, when we feel a physical, emotional, or mental imbalance, it is an alert indication that the body's own intelligence expresses dysfunctions in our way of living, which must be understood in order to act upon them and reverse the harmful tendency. When we get sick, the body would indicate that we are not in alignment. There is no coherence in what we feel, think, say, and do. When we are sick, feeling, thinking, saying, and doing vibrate in different information. And at that moment, we feel scattered, defragmented. Again, our song doesn't sound as we would like it to. All the musical notes are there, ready to form harmonious chords. It is up to each of us to make the necessary changes to concretize and refine harmony. Practicing urine therapy is the highest expression of self-love. The intake of my fresh urine, the psychotherapeutic accompaniment, deep breathing exercises, radical changes in my beliefs received from my parents, religion, teachers, and society, expressing my emotions, changes in my diet, especially in the knowledge of acid and alkaline foods, allowed me to regain balance in my health. Before I talk about my experience with AH urine, because as many of you may have already noticed, I'm passionate about AH urine, I would like to share with you a story that I like. Maria's favorite meal that her mother prepared was a delicious fish with coconut cream. Maria's eye would widen and her taste buds would activate every time her mother served her the delicious fish. But there was one detail in the fish that always made Maria wonder, why? Her mother always served the dish cut in half. Maria always said, but it would look nicer if the fish were whole. its beauty would be more appreciated. So one day, Maria asked her mother, "Why do you always cut the fish in half before put it in the pan?" The mother answered, "I don't know, Maria. That's how your grandma taught me to prepare it." So Maria asked her grandma, "Why do you always cut the fish in half before putting it in the pan?" The grandma answered, "I don't know, Maria. That's how my mother taught me to prepare it." So Maria was lucky enough to still have her great grandma alive. So one day when she visited her, she asked her the same question. "Why do you always cut the fish in half before putting it in the pan?" The great grandma answered, "Ah, you mean the fish with coconut milk?" "Yes," said Maria. You see, Maria, in our times, there were only very small frying pans. So we always had to cut the fish in half to make it fit in the frying pan. We didn't have big frying pans as you have today. I love this story. However, the beauty of the human being is that we are all different. Not all people would question whether the fish would look nice or whole on the plate. Many people would just eat the delicious fish without asking so many questions. Why should they go any further? It is very difficult in general for human beings to detach themselves from their beliefs and behavioral patterns. Being permanently attached to beliefs in general secures the person. This is totally understandable and respectable. We have the example of John Armstrong, who stuck precisely to what he believed in, to his sacred text called the Bible. And it was precisely that passage in the Bible, from my own point of view, according to his own intuitive interpretation, that led him to experiment with drinking his urine. Sacred texts have left us beautiful teachings, but when you read them from your own intuition, they leave you messages that go beyond the text itself. Religion is not the same as spirituality. By the way, it is not part of our education to know how to read. In our schools, for example, we are forced to read and repeat what is written on paper without the possibility of re-questioning what we have read, let alone re-questioning ourselves. And please don't take me wrong. When I say repeating and repeating, I mean a repetition that denigrates the self. The human being by nature is fascinated by the phenomenon of repeating mantras, for example, has an extraordinary power in our being. Likewise, the pleasure we feel when repeating songs, poems, tirelessly watching our favorite movie, etc. I'm referring to a repetition that inhibits, that imposes like a dictatorship, mutilating the essence of the being. Many times it could be said that beliefs would be the only reference people have. The person doesn't know any other reference. He has not experienced by him, herself, to go beyond. We still need to know our 7 bodies, at least 7 bodies. Do you know that we have 2 brains in our body? One in our head and the other in our digestive system? And both are intimately related. Do you know how your nervous system works? Do you know how the sympathetic and parasympathetic system works? Do you know what hormones your body produces when you are under stress? Have you experienced the spiritual side of your pineal gland? Do you recognize the voice of your own intuition and the unique language of your inner wisdom? No, we don't know. We haven't been taught how to experience by ourselves. We don't know our bodies, our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, schema beliefs, intuitive, and divine body. I have 2 examples that perfectly illustrate what I have mentioned before. I had a client who was going through a colon cancer. From the holistic perspective, particularly in the emotional body, colon cancer would be related to a painful event or shock which the person could not digest. It could be an unhealed grief, an event that causes a lot of anger, an injustice. My client, she wanted to heal, but she didn't want to explore the incoherence in what she felt, thought, said, and did regarding her relationship with her mother. She told me that she hated her mother. She hated her deeply. She had her reasons, and her reasons were valid. Her hatred was genuine, and that was okay. No judgment. Remember, an emotion is an emotion. The nature of an emotion is to flow, motion, movement. I asked her if she would be open to explore that emotion, because it was very strong. It was her emotion. She said no. She hated her mother so much that she couldn't even mention her name. She died 6 months later. Please remember that we are all different and extremely complex. Each of us, we are not even like a world. We are like a universe, multiverse. What I have mentioned before is not to say that all cancer sufferers in general hate their mother. No. What is evident is that somewhere in the emotional body, there is a blockage. There is information that for many reasons cannot flow in such a way that the body, in its infinite intelligence, finds a mathematical solution, and that is when the physical illness manifests itself. Again, please note, all this is based on from a totally holistic perspective. So my other client has major stomach problems. He's gluten intolerant with hemorrhoids, major inflammations at an intestinal level, and overweight. At some point, he told me that he loves to eat in the middle of the night, but I mean, eating big. He would prepare complex meals and start eating. This habit had started when he was a teenager. I asked him what pleasure it evoked in his body to do this. And he told me that when he was a teenager, one night around 1 o'clock, he was studying in the kitchen. And his grandma, who lived with them and whom he loved deeply, came into the kitchen and they start talking. Grandma started cooking and they began to eat. It was a magical moment for him. From that moment on, it was the same thing every night. He was 15 years old when this habit took place, and today he's 60 years old, and he keeps eating around 1 o'clock in the middle of the night, every night. I asked him if he would be open to explore this in an emotional level, and he said no. He didn't want to change this habit. He told me that eating late every night in this way allowed him to feel connected to his grandma, who has been dead for more than 15 years ago. Nowadays, my client suffers deeply with his inflammatory problems. It is important to note that we create anchors in our brain, deep anchors. In my client's case, his anchorage is eating very late at night makes me feel heard, loved by my grandma. I feel that I exist. Eating in the middle of the night allows me to keep the memory of my grandmother alive. Can you feel the deep subtlety on this? How deeply complex are often those anchors that we have created? No, it's not easy to get out of our comfort zones. Getting out of it implies knowing the roots of your own suffering, which would lead you to reconsider your beliefs, your schemes, your dynamics at all levels. And this is scary. So people decide to stay with what they know and what secures them. Sometimes not even urine therapy has positive results in people, not because its effectiveness is questioned, but because it would be necessary to explore all the subtle bodies in order to detect where there is information that is not in alignment or coherence, as mentioned before. Do you remember? Alignment and coherence in what I feel, what I think, say, and do. Our urine contains all the information that inhabits our being in every level. So that's why drinking your own urine is extremely powerful. So, to go back to our fish story, remember Mary? So just like Mary, I asked myself that question with age urine. I asked myself, why, if my age urine is extraordinary for my skin and gives me this glow that no expensive cream on the market can give me? Listen, I put my age urine on my skin, which is an organ of my body. Would it hurt me if I put it on another organ of my internal body? But to explore this, I had to break down beliefs. first of all, my own beliefs based on wrong information regarding H urine. And then break down beliefs I have read in books about H urine. The information in the books warns you that the use of H urine has to be limited to external use only. So I based my explorative experience on the beautiful phrase that says, never put anything on your skin that you couldn't eat. And my skin was already eating my H urine. Do you know what I mean? I was excited, I tell you. But to be honest, there was a lot of reluctance in my being. This reluctance was based on lack of information and lack of information of my own experience. Lack of information limits us. So I started to inform myself. I started to find out if there were people out there who consume already H urine, and I found many people. Among them, Harry Matadim, last week's speaker, Monica Schutz, that by the way, we have already sent her an invitation to be our speaker, so we hope she replies. But I began at a snail's pace. I would put 3 drops of my H urine under my tongue once a day for a week. The next week, I proceed the same, but 3 times a day. The next week, I increased the dose to 7 drops under my tongue once a day. The next week, the same thing, but 3 times a day. I respected the amount that was right for me, and I was in an observation mode, guys. So nowadays, I drink 150 milliliters every day of my H urine. I drink 50 milliliters 3 times a day on an empty stomach. I started doing this 6 months ago, and I'm not dead. I will never forget the first day I dared to take my first H urine. I made sure there was someone in the house in case I had to be rushed to the hospital. I was so nervous. But when the urine, my H urine passed through my esophagus, it felt like I was burning inside. And when it reached my empty stomach, I felt every cell in my body explode in unison in 1,000 colors. Like when you see fireworks in the sky, with the difference that it was an internal experience. I had the sensation of having been resurrected, to have been resurrected from something that was left behind. I didn't know what was left behind. But what I did know that day was that I would never stop drinking my H urine. Then I was submerged by a great inner peace. It was like entering an inner silence when you realize that you vibrate with the all. You can call him God, life, everything. This sublime experience led me to go through the wonderful experience of choosing in total freedom, choosing based on what I want to experience, and not choosing based on what others have told me to do or not to do. So I let age my fresh urine for 9 days. At 5, it is okay, but at 9 is better. I like to use the number 9 because it represents 9 months of gestation. I put my H urine on my face every day when I get up and before I go to bed. I have 2 rituals with my age urine every day. Every day I drink my fresh urine. I drink my urine when I have my periods. Ladies, age urine with my period. Ladies, this is extremely powerful. Your periods, lots of stem cells, and we just throw it away. But there is something that you have to experience by yourself. It's wonderful. I also mix sometimes 50 milliliters of age urine with my fresh one. I massage my body with age urine. I put a cotton ball full of age urine in my navel, and I massage all over my stomach area and my genitals. Libido increases, ladies and gentlemen. You have to try that one. Go for it. In a nose spray bottle, I hold my age urine and breathe it through my nostrils. This procedure is extremely beneficial when you have a headache. It takes away my headache immediately. It cuts my hiccups immediately also. So every day before going to bed, I leave my age urine in my mouth for 10 minutes. The first day I did this, I got scared because I noticed how the inner skin of my mouth fell out. And I know Ronit, I don't know if you are there, but Ronit said this in a post in our group also. However, this caused me no pain. And the next day, I did the same thing. I have noticed that this seems to be a depuration process in the mouth, powerful. Urine intake is very subtle. I don't know if you have noticed, but our urine tastes different depending on our mood. I have noticed that if I get angry, for example, my urine will taste bitter. And conversely also, when I have episodes where I have a lot of laughing, pleasurable moments, my urine will taste deliciously appetizing to my mouth. One day I experienced something very interesting. I went swimming in the late afternoon. I said to myself, what would happen if my breaks, I drank my urine? I did. That night, I had a very hard time falling asleep because when we do physical effort, we generate stimulating hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. But at the same time, I told myself that urine is an excellent substitute for coffee. By the way, the ingestion of my urine led me to stop drinking coffee. And I swear it that I loved to drink coffee, but I don't drink it anymore. Deep changes. Diseases are not an enemy. No, you are not consciously guilty of being sick. Your physical body, one of the 7 bodies you are, your physical body is part of you. Your physical body, in its infinite mathematical intelligence, creates illnesses. Remember, information is mathematic. Information in your cells. This information is based and created by what you think, what you believe, what you feel, what you eat, what you drink, what you say, what you don't say, what you express, what you don't. And this wave information vibrates in a specific frequency. And all this together, using again the analogy of music, is your song. To recover health, we need to change the information vibrating in our cells. How we can do it differently? Using our internal and external tools, learning the functions of our 7 bodies, expressing and managing my emotions, eating and drinking properly, knowing how to breathe properly, sleeping enough, relaxing, listening to my deepest needs, having a deep relationship with your inner wisdom and the divine part that inhabits you, learning to put limits to others, learning to say no to other people. That's very important, guys. Cultivating yourself by doing what you love, making the time to be creative, etc. I encourage people to see disease from another perspective, from a mathematically holistic perspective. Looking at our diseases from this angle allows to not consider them as our enemies, where at all costs we prepare our chemical arsenals to destroy them. By destroying disease this way, we destroy ourselves. You are pure mathematics at its best. You are full of perfect musical notes in your 7 bodies. Your cells contain the perfect divine information to regenerate no matter what your condition is. Observe yourself, question yourself. Dare to explore unexplored path. When you allow what you feel, think, say, and do be in a complete alignment and coherence, you create harmonious songs in your beautiful and unique jukebox. So thank you very much, guys, for your attention, for being there. Thank you, Basuma, for your invitation to be your speaker today. I feel so grateful with you. Thank you.
Wonderful talk. Wonderful talk.